Okay, so we're going to talk about peer-mediated interventions. So all that really is it's usually used to help peers with autism develop more social interaction skills and increase their opportunities to use them within a natural environment. So, like characteristics of people with ASD, a lot of times they have struggles understanding different social interactions. So they might have trouble with being able to read if someone is being sarcastic or if they're upset, or so they don't have the greatest information based on their social interactions. This helps them grow with that. We usually want to use this with school-age children, mostly the younger. You don't really use this with younger kids, but mostly school-aged. So just when you implement it, first step is you want to select peers. So you want to select peers that individual with ASD might have a rapport with or is comfortable with. And then once you have those peers, so about 3 or 4 to 5, you'll train them and support the peers with what they're doing, what they're going to be doing. Then you just implement the teaching of the session. So you would start the activity that you would do. And then slowly that would move to getting it in the classroom and in the school, and then extending it throughout everyday activities and stuff like that. So like I said, when you select the peers, you want to make sure that there's someone that is well liked by the person that you are trying to gain this social interaction with. Someone that's willing to work with the student and is willing to work with you to help train them to be able to help them the best with the social interaction. So a lot of times when you want to teach them when you're teaching the peers, you want to make sure you encourage them to keep up with the conversation, no matter if they're having trouble, if they're interacting with the child, but the child's not interacting back with them. You just got to push the importance of, you want to keep trying to push that interaction with the person, even if they're not reciprocating it with you. And then you start implementing the structured teaching with just the peers. You don't use the child that you're looking to improve social interaction with. A lot of times, so it's going to vary from age group to age group. But a lot of times you want to make sure that the peers that you do pick are using the age appropriate growth as well. So you don't want to have someone who is 16 working with someone that's maybe 5. So you want to make sure that interaction is typical age appropriate. And then the rubric that goes with that, so you just have the rubric. It would be pretty much you just date when you're doing it, who the person observing the interaction is, the student that you're focusing on, student with ASD, and then you also want to put the peers that you're using in the activity, and then you also want to use the activity that you're using. So, for example, you could use a board game like Candyland, cards like Go Fish, anything like that, something that would lead to some kind of social interaction between the kids. And then there's just a couple yes/no questions, like, did the student participate in an activity after you introduced it, or did they kind of just weren't really paying attention attention to what was going on. Uh, did they enjoy the activity? So did they like the activity that was picked, or did they like the activity that they were doing with the peers? Um, and then the activity, did it promote any kind of social interaction that you were looking for in that uh, when you chose the activity? And then the other ones are more in-depth, kind of, they want you to write a little stuff out. Like, did the activity promote positive or negative social interaction? So when they were playing, did it create a negative effect with the child, or was it more positive? And then they want to know, what changes would you make to the arrangement of the setting to improve social interaction? So would you have changed the game that was played, the way you introduced the activity, anything like that? And then the next question is, do you think any of the peers that were included in the activity, would you have taken any of the peers out or added someone different because maybe they didn't gain the social interaction with those peers that you thought they would have gained? And then there's a chart that goes with it, and it's just, you would mark down the time of the activity and what activity, and then there's a checklist that you would check for the behavior. So looking at the peers, starting conversation, taking turns, exchanging materials, requesting an item, and then initiating interaction. So you just kind of check those boxes when they happen, so you know that what kind of interactions, social interaction behaviors happened, so you can look back and decide if you would change anything more as well, or if you would try that same activity with them again to try and improve their interaction.